The 10 hours early access to FIFA 22 Ultimate Team releases in just 3 weeks, and as soon as I have access, my goal is to trade, build coins and put them into a starter team. This starter team is what's going to get things going. This is what I'll be using to go through squad battles, division rivals, the champions playoffs and the champions final. It needs to be a well-rounded team whilst also not being ridiculously expensive. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the team that I've put together and what I'm aiming for to have within the first week of FIFA, even before FIFA 22 is officially released. Before I do get into the video, if you enjoy the content here and want to see a bit more from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Once FIFA 22 is finally released, I'll be giving you the latest trading tips and tutorials so that you can use them to make loads of coins. So if you do want to stay up to date with everything, then make sure you are following the channel. Getting back into the video, a starter team is very important and it doesn't take much for you to have an advantage over other players right at the beginning. If you can get a full goal team with 100 chem, you're already doing better than most of the players that are starting FUT. If you're like me and you'll be taking advantage of the 10 hours early access with EA Play and also using a web app, you can easily have a full gold team before the official release, giving you an advantage over your opponents. You can very easily put yourself in a position where you're blasting through divisions and bringing in a lot of coins to your account, which can then be used for investing. And as said, all of this can be done way before the release of FIFA 22. So, the team that I'm looking to put together. As for the formation, I'm looking to go for the 3-5-2. Every single year, this formation seems to be a hit or miss. It's either very overpowered because of the amount of players that you have in midfield, or it gets absolutely destroyed because there is only 3 centre backs. This year, with the new technology of hypermotion, I'm hoping my team is able to keep their shape. I want my 3 centre backs to stay in their centre back positions, with my 2 CDMs dead just in front helping a defensive line. Now, I did have access to the FIFA 22 beta and I did try out the 3-5-2 formation, and it did suit what I was trying to do in game, but it all comes down to whether or not EA have made and implemented some major changes before the release of FIFA 22, and if they have done that, it could change everything. But as of right now, I am sticking to the 3-5-2 formation. The team that I'm going for is going to be a hybrid between the Premier League, Bundesliga and La Liga. So starting off in net, I will be looking for Bellman. There is no particular reason that I got him here other than chemistry. I've always felt when going into any type of ultimate team, the goalkeeper matters to a certain degree. After the first couple of weeks of Ultimate Team, most players already understand the overpowered way to shoot. And no matter who the goalkeeper is in net, if you know the overpowered way to shoot, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be going into the back of the net. So at the beginning of the game, I like to save my coins in this area, just make sure that I get a goalkeeper that fits with chemistry, so it's on full chem as well as the players around them, and the rest of the coins I could use elsewhere. For my 3 centre backs, I am going to be using Klosterman, Rudiger and Joe Gomez. All of these should be pacey centre backs with the exception of Rudiger, but Rudiger even in FIFA 21 has 70 pace. So it's still very good within this area and I can apply a chem style to him. With these 3 centre backs, they are still all fairly tall, being above 6 foot, despite being very pacey players. With the work rates going off of what we had within FIFA 21, Klosterman and Joe Gomez have medium, whereas Rudiger has a medium high. Hopefully he'll be a player that will always stay back whilst attacking, even if Joe Gomez and Klosterman just push up slightly beyond him, but even then they should not be pushing up too high. With Rudiger being German as well as Klosterman, and Klosterman being within the Bundesliga, he gives a strong link to Bellman, allowing Bellman to be on full chem, and Rudiger just gives him that extra bit more, making sure that it's not a dead link. Next up in the midfield for my 2 centre defensive mids, I'm going to be going for Calvin Phillips on the left so he gets a link to Rudiger and Joe Gomez, and then I'm going for Emre Can on the right so he'll get a link to Rudiger and Klosterman. In this area, I wanted something similar to what I had within my centre backs, where they were tall, they were pacey, and they had work rates which was going to help out the defence, whilst also still having the ability to push the ball forward. Both Emre and Calvin Phillips have medium-high work rates, so they should be there to help the defense. With the likes of Emre Can within FIFA 21, he is very well rounded, as he has above 70 in every single one of his card stats. In FIFA 22, of course, his stats will be changing, but they shouldn't be changing too much based that he has played quite a few games for Dortmund this year. With the likes of Calvin Phillips in FIFA 21, he had a 76 rated card, but in FIFA 22, after the year that he's had, he should have a much higher rated card, so his stats should be a lot better than the one that he's got within FIFA 21. The only downside to Calvin Phillips is that he is only 5'10 within the midfield, and we'll be coming up to other players that's going to be 6 foot and beyond. So we'll just have to wait and see come the gameplay for FIFA 22 whether or not he'll still be able to push players off the ball when it comes to aerial defense. Emery hasn't got this problem as he is over 6 foot. Moving on to my wingers, for my right mid I'll be going for Bellarabi, and for my left mid I'll be going for Jack Grealish. Both of these close off the chemistry links, giving full chem to the players around them. There is now a chemistry triangle between the likes of Joe Gomez, Calvin Phillips and Jack Grealish on the left hand side, whereas on that right hand side we have a chemistry triangle between Bellarabi, Klosterman and Emre Can. Hopefully both of these players will stay wide within game, and whenever I switch the ball, they're there in position where they're able to drive the ball forward. I found when playing the beta that having a right mid and left mid proved to be very useful for the playstyle that I have. So I know come the release, I definitely want to have a right mid and left mid, hence why we're going for a 3-5-2 and hence why these are the players that I've picked. Moving on to the final 3 players, these are all La Liga players as they will also give me another chemistry triangle. In the cam position, I've gone for Isco. In my striker and my main striker, I've gone for Inaki Williams, and finally for my second striker, I've gone for Morales. The player here that I wanted to play with the most is Inaki Williams, he being a very well-rounded striker that you can get within the Liga. In FIFA 21, his stats being a high 94 pace, he's 6 foot, whilst also still having that physicality and also having very good shooting stats. This is someone where I feel no matter what the meta is in Ultimate Team, he in some way can fit into it. Morales is there more as chemistry. I needed 3 players within La Liga which were Spanish. If I went for anyone else here, unfortunately Isco will not be getting full chem. With that said though, I still think Morales is going to have a decent card within FIFA 22 and hopefully he will still be able to bag a few goals. As for Isco, I did want someone in there that can control the midfield. Not necessarily the paciest of players, but someone that can definitely pass the ball as well as even trying to get off a few long shots if they have to. In this position, it was either going to be Isco or Koke, and pretty much I've decided to go for Isco, but depending on the player ratings and the player price come FIFA 22, these players may have to swap out. Now this is the team that I'm thinking of going with at the time of recording this video. Of course, things can change between now and the release of FIFA 22, all coming down to what happens in real life with football and these players, as well as what type of card stats these players are going to be getting within game. There is of course a bit of a risk when going for the 3-5-2 formation. As previously said, it seems to be a hit or miss depending on every single year on the FIFA and the gameplay. It can of course overpower the midfield as it has got 5 players which you can pass between. But when there is only 3 defenders, you need to make sure that those defenders are up for the job, making sure they stay in their position whilst also having pace and physicality to push off strikers. Even though this is my starter team, I'm still expecting this team to go above 100k. It all comes down to certain players. Players such as Rudiger, Joe Gomez, Calvin Phillips and Isco will all easily be above 10k. With the likes of Jack Grealish, he'll be even more expensive, probably being the most expensive player within the team. I'll not be surprised when FUT 22 is released to see Jack Grealish going for above 100k. This does all depend on his overall rating, if he fits the meta of FUT, and of course the demand from players. Because he is English playing for Man City, we already know the demand's going to be slightly high, as well as we also know that it's going to be slightly higher because he is a recent transfer of 100 million. This is where we get down to the true design of the team. How I've put this together is not based on specific players, it's actually based on leagues and nationalities. Let's say come the release of FUT 22, Jack Grealish has an 85 rated card and he is very expensive in game, going for above 100k. Well, it's fair to say he's not going in my starter team. At that price range, it's just not worth it to put it all into one player. I can find a much cheaper player to put into the team whilst using the rest of the coins to invest. I can very easily get any English Premier League player and place them in that left mid position. And this also goes for the same with any other player within a team if they tend to be slightly more expensive than what I'm originally anticipating. Let's say Isco is going for around 50k. That's not a problem. I'll find another player that's in that cam position. As long as they're Spanish from the La Liga, I can use them and put them within the team, allowing the players that he links to still get full cam. My biggest worry right now and the players that I think are going to be the most expensive is Rudiger, Joe Gomez, Jack Grealish, Calvin Phillips and Isco. And I can't say whether or not I'm going to be 100% using these players come the release, because it does all depend on what happens come the release of FIFA 22 and these players' prices. But as of right now, this is the team that I've put together. It's fair to say it's not a perfect team, and of course I know that because it is a starter team at the end of the day, but it should help me get things done early stages of Ultimate Team, where I'm able to go through divisions, able to go through the Champions players, and hopefully I'll be able to qualify for the Champions final. If any of you have started to plan your FIFA 22 Ultimate Teams and what you're going to be starting with, then please feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm curious of what you guys are doing. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.